Hello, beloved brothers and sisters. I have a word from the Lord for us today. It's from Psalms 37, and I'm going to begin with verse 1. Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither, and like green plants, they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. Again, verse 5. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. It's a promise. It's a promise. We have the ability to plan things, a delightful way of planning things because they seem right, because they seem good, but they aren't from God. They aren't of God. I love the verse there where it says, and he will give you the desires of your heart. I see that differently than I did at first. At first, I thought that meant whatever I wanted, that's what God will give me. That's what I have in my heart, and that's what God will give me. Maybe there is a little bit of that, but I think it's much more. Get in tune with God. Get connected with him so that he gives you the desires for your heart. You don't get those by yourself and come up with it, making a plan without God. Allow God to make the plan. Allow God to make the desires of your heart, and then they will come true. God seems to have a delightful way of upsetting the plans that we have made when we've not taken him into account. We get ourselves into circumstances that were not chosen by God and suddenly realize that we've been making plans without him, that we've not even considered him to be the vital living factor in the planning of our lives. And yet the only thing that will keep us from even getting the possibility of worrying is to bring God in as the greatest factor in all of our planning. In spiritual issues, it's customary for us to put God first, but we tend to think that it's maybe inappropriate or unnecessary to put him first in the practical, everyday issues of our lives. If we have the idea that we have to put our spiritual face on before we can come near to God, then we'll never come near to him. We must come as we are. It's important that we don't plan with a concern for evil in mind. Don't plan something to hurt somebody. Don't plan something that would hurt you or another person. For God really means for us to plan without any evil involved in us. In 1 Corinthians 13, 4-5, he says, love thinks no evil. If we're thinking God-like, we're thinking love-like. And love thinks no evil. Love isn't ignorant of the existence of evil, but it does take into account that we should not be planning around it. When we're apart from God, we might take evil into account. We might be doing things in our selfishness, in our self-centeredness, doing all of our planning without love as our motivation. And if we try to work out everything from that standpoint, then we're going to get away from what God really has for us, away from the desires that God puts in us. John 14:1. I've used this verse so many times. Let not your heart be troubled. It is a command. It's not that we're not going to have issues. This week has been one for my family. We have considered that maybe either one or both of my sisters have COVID-19. It's looking like they don't. And with them having a fear of it, I had a fear of it because I was with them. Our second son, Alan, who lives by himself, but had visited with our youngest daughter, Sarah, and her family, has a fear of having COVID. So she has the fear of her and her 3 children and her husband having it as well. Everything is pointing to that is not what's happening. Sarah has tested negative. We're waiting for my sister Becca's, for her evaluation, her testing to come in. We should have it tomorrow. But she's been taking an antihistamine, and a lot of her problems with the puffy eyes and the red ears and the red throat have gone away because of allergy medication. We think that this is not going to be a COVID-19 sentence for our family, but we don't know. And we can't make plans. It has to be God working with us and through us. We can't make a plan on our own. We can only make plans with God in mind. And not let our heart be troubled. That is a command from John 14:1. And it was Jesus's actual words. Don't let your heart be troubled. Believe in me. Believe also in God. He is there for us. We have to give the desires of our hearts over to God. We have to give our worries over to God. We have to walk in His strength. When we fall, continually pick ourselves up, even if we fall 100 times in one day, until we get into the habit of putting God first and making all of our plans with God working through us and in us, in every circumstance, making the plans for us, with us, because of us. That's the way God does things, in complete love. We are so thankful for Him. We're so thankful of His work in us. And I am so thankful for you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. May God continue to work through you, and may you know His presence in every moment. Amen.